Your
A little
cheekbones are
red.
really nice, man. Your cheekbones.
Thanks. I actually did the contouring on them this morning with the machine. I was sitting there getting ready, doing some conference calls, and it's this like machine I bought. Go if you seen the mask that I put on Instagram, the like red light mask, you wear that at night. In the morning, you do it's called like I forget what it does, but it's like a gym for your skin. So thank
What
you.
does a machine like that run you in this economy?
I bought it a few years ago. It was like $1,200.
A what now?
But that's the thing, like you're gonna go
Holy
pay for
shit.
skincare for like other things as well. So I mean, how much do you pay for a gym membership? How much do you pay for
I thought you were gonna say
clothes?
like $75, $1,200.
It literally takes your face, John Murray, and like pulls your skin. It's like instead of going to like a spa, you just do it at home.
Being a chick is tough. I mean, a female.
Being an old chick is tough. I'm
Being a
trying not
female.
to be old.
I'll tell you, tough night for me Friday. Went to the Mountain West semifinals. I did everything you shouldn't do. You know, you shouldn't bet on the games just because you're there. I did that.
No, of course you should. That's what makes it more fun.
I lost both games. I lost both the first and second game, and I drank after and before the games. I shouldn't have done that. I did everything you shouldn't have done, but it was still fun. I thought conference tournament week was a lot of fun. The only thing I watched the selection show Sunday, and I feel like what I learned from the selection show is the conference tournaments are totally meaningless.
Like, well, they're meaningless unless you're NC State, Duquesne, Oklahoma, Providence. I mean, there was like some teams that got their bids stolen that it really was meaningful.
Well, the top of the draw. I don't care about the teams that barely make it in. I'm talking at the top, you had 3 teams that we knew were going to be 1 seeds: Connecticut, Purdue, Houston. And then we had teams like North Carolina, Arizona that were on the fringe of a 1 seed. Of those teams, the only one that won the tournament was UConn. And then they somehow got the toughest bracket of anybody.
Yeah, they're going to be in a world of hurt, I have a feeling.
I mean, Auburn is really good. Auburn got a lower seed than Kentucky somehow. Kentucky got a 3, Auburn got a 4. Iowa State, I thought, should have been the 4th one after they
Whoa.
They beat Houston by like 30 points.
I was on them. I saw this argument from a couple of guys I would say that I respect in the media world saying that Iowa State should be the one. Iowa State's non-conference schedule. So like I'm obviously in Big 12 Twitter world where people say ridiculous things and
X world. X.
And while there's some Iowa State fans that I enjoy following, some of them are complete and utter boneheads, and that's the nicest thing I can say about them. But here's the reality. Coach Tang, they took a sound. Let's see this. A media took a sound bite and ran with it instead of
why are we talking about Kansas State?
Because Coach Tang said, what can I do that's different next year, right? Like essentially, there was a lot more to the soundbite, but of course the media took it as we've contacted people within the NCAA to see what we could do better for next year. That's not quite what it is. And I made a snarky comment and I said, just be like Iowa State and play a meaningless non-conference schedule. Why'd we schedule USC to start the year? Why'd we go to the Baja Mar tournament to play Providence and Miami? Now, granted, those teams didn't end up panning out throughout the entirety of the season, but USC was top 25. Miami.
But didn't Iowa State play 20 Big 12 games? I mean, that's not enough.
Well, how many Big 12 games did K-State play?
But Iowa State won more of them than.
That's okay. I understand you still have to win the game, but their non-conference schedule meant that they weren't as banged up. Here's K-State's problem, and I'll say this much:
K-State talk. They didn't even make the tournament.
Well, they're playing in the NIT tonight. Okay. So let me tell you this, and this is where the issue arises with this net, right? If you play in a conference like the Big 12, there's no reason to schedule a tougher non-conference. Why would you do that? All you're going to do is get people hurt, which is what happened. Quest Glover, who was supposed to be our point guard, and Tyler Perry had to move into his spot because
This is a conversation about Iowa State being a 1 seed, and it's all about
This is a conversation because you're making a case for them being a 1 seed, and I'm telling you, it's because they played a weak non-conference schedule, and there is no reason for anybody in the Big 12 to go out there and to want to play in some of these dog fights in November.
What conference is better, the Big 12 or the ACC?
Stop it.
What
You already know.
conference-
Top to bottom.
So why does North Carolina? But you're okay with North Carolina getting a 1?
I didn't say I'm necessarily okay with North Carolina getting a 1.
Somebody has to be the 4th one.
Right? And I don't think it was Tennessee.
And I don't think it was Arizona, who was in a very weak
I don't think it
Pac-12.
was
So
who
here's my
lost to
point.
Oregon.
So maybe Iowa State's not the 4th one, but why are they the 2 with the number 1 one? It makes no sense.
Okay, that's fair. That does not make any sense.
It
They
doesn't
should
make
be
any-
the
it
number
doesn't make
1,
any sense.
2.
They could be the number 1, 2.
And they
which
should be probably in the South.
I guess you're
No?
arguing that Arizona is the number 1, 2 because they're with North Carolina, which would have to be the weakest of the 4 1 seeds. I would
Correct.
imagine. But I don't
I
understand.
don't think Arizona's the number 1, 2.
Well, I'm just saying because no, I don't. Iowa State's the best 2 seed, right? And Auburn is clearly the best 4 seed.
I thought Auburn was going to get a 3 seed. I think the committee did a lot of things really, really weird. I know that the 5 bids stolen kind of threw a loop into things, but Dayton has a 7 seed. This many Mountain West teams getting in? Like what? There were supposed to be 9 Big 12 teams that got in.
3 Big East teams made the tournament.
Which is
3.
a whole nother argument in itself.
What's that?
Kim English went the fuck off, and rightfully so.
I don't understand how the Big East only gets 3 teams. I don't understand the second year in a row that a team was the defending national champion. They called it the number 1 overall seed, whatever that means, and they put them in the toughest bracket. I thought Kansas had the toughest bracket last year, and Connecticut's got the toughest.
I agree, but explain to me. Okay, I said this yesterday, and I thought it was going to get more traction. Net reminds me of the BCS. It seems like there are several metrics sometimes that make no sense. Net makes no sense to me. Yes, K-State should have won games. No, K-State should have went to overtime with crappy teams named Chicago State. I understand that. So
why are we talking about Kansas State?
I'm just using it as an example because Net fucked them more than anybody else.
What about like
they beat 6 teams in the tournament?
What about St. John's? How did St. John's?
St. John's got screwed too. Oklahoma got screwed too.
Yeah, they did. They really did. I don't know.
The Big East got screwed in it. Did they get screwed because of net?
I don't know. What do you feel like you feel bad about what you said about Kansas last week? I saw that clip got a lot of run. What'd you call them? Dickheads?
Dickheads.
That sucks. Even Andy Samuelson?
Of course. All of them.
That sucks. I made a dickhead of myself on Sunday. So
Shocker.
You know our GM Cammie's a big Iowa women's basketball fan, and she's
Did you
like,
say something bad about Caitlin Clark?
No, of course not. She's like, can you text me when the selection show comes out? I want to know where Iowa's going. So I'm kind of like half watching it. You know, I'm on my couch. I'm on my phone. I'm not
watching
really
the women's selection show, or you're watching the men?
The women.
Okay,
I'm like half watching it, and I look up, and they show like Albany, 1, 2, 3, 4. South Carolina was the 1 seed, and I text Cammie. I go, good news. Iowa's not going to Albany. South Carolina's the 1 seed. And then I go to my fridge. I get a drink. I come back to my couch after the commercial, and they're like, okay, now we're going to do the bracket for Albany 2 region. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? I didn't know that the women's have like 2 regions. I didn't know that.
Yes.
So I got to text Cammie and be like, oh, I'm sorry. And then
okay, so here's what doesn't make sense. So Iowa should be playing their first 2 games at home.
Yeah, but their regional is in Albany. The Sweet 16 and the 8. Yeah, their first and second round games are in Iowa City, but they go to Albany.
Why would it matter if they go to Albany?
Because she wanted them to go to Oregon because it's closer for her to go. And I didn't know that they only had 2 sites for the regions. I thought it was like the men's, or there's 4. How am I supposed to know that? I didn't know that.
Because you're sexist and you don't watch women's basketball?
And then
that's my only logical explanation for why I don't know.
And then I saw her last night.
I can't wait to watch K-State women's basketball, though. I'm very excited.
I saw her last night, and she's like, I didn't have the heart to tell you, but I was watching on TV the whole time. I knew you were wrong the whole time. I was like, excellent. Do you want to get into the plays for the week, or do you want to? Is there anything else?
It's literally the only reason why I'm here.
All right, let's start with let's start with the East Regional. We just talked about it. It's definitely the hardest bracket. We said that we were going to take half of our UConn bet and bet it on the money line. They are a 26-point favorite against Stetson. I mean, you're talking about betting like $500 to win $5. Do we want to do that?
Oh,
I don't think we should do that. So let's pocket the 500. I'm gonna assume they're gonna get by Stetson, and we'll start our bet on Sunday, the winner of the Florida Atlantic Northwestern game. Good.
yes, that works for me.
All right, that's one thing off the thing. Some sharp plays in the East, round one. They bet Drake against Washington State. They bet BYU against Duquesne. So that makes sense to me because Duquesne just had that long run through the A10 tournament. So they moved that one up 8, 8.5, 9.5 now. And then another bet that I found kind of interesting, they bet on Drake to go further in the tournament than South Carolina. Drake is in the East. That's why I have it in my East bets. Because we have those things where you can bet on a team to go further than another team.
Right. Do you guys also do one of my favorite things? And I remember it was William Hill that had it back in the day, where you guys have number of wins per conference. Because I used to always bet the Mountain West wins under.
I've got 2 sharp plays on that I'm going to get to at the end. I'm going through it region by region. But the answer to your question is yes, we do that. And they've got like over under for the seeds, like the 1 seeds, 2 seeds. You know who's a big part of this team that does that? Chase Michelson.
We've been talking a lot.
One of my
Chase is the reason why the K-State game got steamed tonight. We were in the DMs and he said, "Did you take 6.5?" And I said, "Yeah, I did." I go, "I don't love it." I go, I have a lot of questions. And he goes, "Well, somebody else loves it. It's 5." I'm like, oh.
I gotta say, I don't know how I feel about that. So Chase is supposed to be working today. It's a Tuesday, and
this was last night.
Oh, it's even worse. So this is last night.
Chase, would you like to know what time? I'll tell you.
Chase is sliding into the DMs of
You
an
should write him up.
This is not good.
Chase was messaging me 16 hours ago, 10:25 p.m. So that would be 7:25 p.m. Was he working?
Yeah, he's supposed to be working. He's DMing sports betting chicks.
Kelly, this was at 9:45. Kelly, have you heard anything about K-State versus the injuries and the portals? This line is very high. I said, no, it sounds like full roster is going to be available. I did take 6.5 last night. Don't know how I feel about it. And he goes, it's 5 now. I go, wow, you moved it. And he goes, the market was headed that way. So I didn't argue.
Hold on. I'm put a note here. Talk to Chase. RE DMs. Okay. Let's go to the West. So the West Regional, somebody had to be the 4th 1 seed. My argument was that it should have been Iowa State. Kelly's argument was something about a Kansas State player getting hurt in November. So she doesn't agree. The number 1 seed is North Carolina, but the number 2 seed's Arizona, 3 seed Baylor, 4 seed Alabama. Here's what they're betting. They bet Arizona with us. So again, we just talked about Duquesne. Duquesne came off the A10 tournament. Long Beach State went through their conference tournament after firing their coach. They very surprisingly won the
and now it's like, oh, you're fired. Oh, surprise, you're in. And now he's going to coach in.
He's coaching. He's coaching against Arizona. That game is Thursday in Salt Lake City. They bet that one up to 20.5. Here's another one where, again, I know we're a broken record here, but this is how they're betting them. They bet Clemson plus 2.5 against New Mexico. New Mexico, they just went through a 4-game stretch at the Thomas and Mack Center where they won 4. They look great, by the way. They look great. They beat Boise State. They beat Colorado State. They beat San Diego State. They looked awesome. Another team, they're fading them. And I think it's because of what we're talking about, the long conference tournament run. This one moved a ton.
Well, wouldn't you say there probably I think a lot of sharp bettors and a lot of people I've spoken to are fading the Mountain West. And as I said, that used to be a very profitable thing for me until a little team named San Diego State came to be.
I don't think we should get away from that just because one year, one team won 5 games. It's not like the Mountain West has had any kind of overall success in this tournament. They just had one team go through and make it to the championship game, which I give them a lot of credit for. But that conference has consistently underperformed in the tournament.
Ready for this? Somebody texted me this earlier because they were watching the live show in regards to Mountain West. Seeds of 8 or worse since 2003, 3-32 straight up.
Holy shit. Wow. That's a good stat.
5, 28, and 2 against the spread. courtesy of my buddy Chris. Shout out Fade You group chat, because that'll make you just want to blindly fade Mountain West teams.
Do you feel like you're in too many group chats?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you are.
But it's better because I have like each one is got its own purpose. There's some good reason behind it.
This is one that steamed a lot. I'm gonna give you two more plays in the West region. St. Mary's, they bet us no Sweet 16. They bet it from -175 to -260. St. Mary's, they've got a tricky first game against Grand Canyon, and then they would likely play Alabama in the second round unless there's an upset, which could happen. So it's a tricky draw for St. Mary's.
I like both those dogs.
They're the 5 seed.
I like Grand Canyon and I like Charleston.
And here's one too. So the power rating numbers, I'm sure you know, Arizona would be considered better than North Carolina, even though North Carolina is the 1 seed. Arizona's been bet down from 5-2 to +220 to win the West Regional, which we played in LA next weekend. You want to go to the other side of the bracket here? You want to do the Midwest Regional?
The Midwest, I don't have a ton that I loved out of there.
What are you talking about? I thought we all collectively went in huge on the Cox.
We did. I am fading Oregon and Dana Altman, who's never lost in the first round.
But that's another team. Again, Oregon, they went through the Pac-12 tournament.
But they only had 3 games, not 5.
True. That's true. That is different. But good point. But they did bet us. They did bet us South Carolina. That game is Thursday in Pittsburgh. They bet South Carolina. We're at -1 now on the Gamecocks. They bet this one also Thursday in Charlotte, Tennessee. This one got bet up a lot. We had multiple groups laying these big numbers, laying 19.5, laying 20.5.
But I was told that Rick Barnes is one of the worst March coaches ever. He's like the exact opposite of Tom Izzo.
Yeah, but I think he should be able to get by St. Peter's and get to the second.
I don't know. People remember, what was that? Was it last year or 2 years ago? 2 years ago, St. Peter's went on a run.
I think
3
2
years
ago they made it to the Elite Eight, and they got waxed by the University of North Carolina in a regional final. One more. So this is the team. This is going to be a clippable. So I hope our social media people are paying attention. Kansas. They bet Kansas. Kansas is the 4 seed here in the Midwest region. They play Samford. Then they get the winner of Gonzaga, McNeese State. They bet Kansas to go farther than St. Mary's, -1/4. I kind of like that. I like, everyone is talking about how terrible Kansas is.
Well,
so
Hunter Dickinson's playing. Kevin McCullough's playing. It's Kansas or pass at this point in time. They've got a whole week to be healthy.
How does Gonzaga get a 5 seed? Gonzaga, they were a bubble team all year. They did get the win at Kentucky. They won at St. Mary's. They lost the West Coast championship game. I was surprised that Gonzaga was a 5, and we're seeing some sharp guys bet us Kansas to make a little bit of a run. So I got a couple more in the
South.
I
mean, this is my thing about Gonzaga. Sorry, I had to look back at my notes while you're looking at yours.
Gonzaga.
They don't. Gonzaga?
You said Gonzaga.
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 It's like how you guys can't pronounce Nevada. It's the same thing.
It's
Gonzaga, Nevada.
You guys, I don't know how to pronounce it.
Okay. Well, anyway, I like that. This is what I do like. I'm looking at teams that don't turn the ball over, to make their free throws. There's like some things. That's the one note that's why I didn't bet against the Gonzaga in the first round.
Gonzaga. Okay, let's go to the South Regional in Dallas. Houston's the 1 seed. Marquette, the 2 seed. Kentucky, the 3 seed. I thought Kentucky got a little overseeded, if I'm being honest. Because when did they lose in the SEC tournament? Didn't they lose in like the quarterfinals? I'm really surprised they got a number.
Yeah, you and Sammy P are very high on this team. I think, unfortunately, I don't like to bet teams that live and die by the 3. And that's my concern here. If they go cold, bye-bye.
Defense. And they can.
And no, they lost in the first. They lost to Texas A&M on Friday. So
that's quarterfinals. So they've got a tricky.
Yeah, because they had a first round bye.
I think they got overseeded, but they have a tricky game potentially in the second round. I do expect Texas Tech to get by NC State.
Love that. Love Texas Tech.
NC State just played 5 games in the ACC tournament, an incredible run. 5 games in 5 days. They play they play Texas Tech Thursday in Pittsburgh. Winner probably gets Kentucky. I think Texas Tech is a tough matchup for Kentucky. We'll see. They bet us Wisconsin. Wisconsin, it went from 4.5 up to -6. Now they're down to 5.5. Wisconsin plays 31-3. James Madison. When did James Madison become a sports powerhouse?
Right. Here's my thing.
Program's really good.
I think the whole world loves James Madison in that 512, but last year the 512s did nothing. Like the 5 seeds just absolutely rolled. I mean, Drake looked like they might upset early, but this James Madison looks like the new Drake of this year. Wisconsin played a really, really tough schedule this year. Like
James Madison is going to be a trendy pick, but I'm telling you, the steam we're talking on. So let's clarify one really important point. We're taping the show on Tuesday, the 19th, 2 days before the real tournament starts, before the first 4. So the public hasn't even got here yet. The public is mostly coming in tomorrow. They get in Wednesday. They start loading up their accounts. If they're anything like me on my first trip out here, they're going to drink too much and blow a bunch of money on the
I was going to say they're going to be broke by Thursday night.
Yeah. I don't think did we make it to Thursday night? I don't know about that. We'll see that, but the public is not betting these games yet. I do think the public is going to bet James Madison, but we had sharp guys betting the Badgers. And then here's one that moved a lot that I thought was interesting. Marquette is the 2 seed in the region, in the South region. They bet us, this is Marquette to go further than Creighton, and they bet us from +150 all the way down to even money.
I'll say this. I really liked Creighton in my Calcutta, and I pushed really hard for my partner. I was like, hey, we should take Creighton. And Creighton went for so much money in comparison to the other 3 seeds. I was floored. I was like, we're not paying that much money for Creighton.
Creighton is a 3 seed, and is that correct? So Creighton,
I believe so, yeah.
They're a 3. Is that right? I don't know the bracket as well as you. Yeah, they are. Creighton is a 3 in the Midwest. They play Akron. How about that poor kid on Kent State? Oh my God, that was painful. So Creighton gets a.
What about the kid on Florida? That was even more painful. Oh,
more painful than the guy intentionally fouling.
The guy's leg his leg bone came through the back of his leg. Yeah, it was more painful.
Literally painful.
Right. Yes, not that he didn't understand the rules.
So you're telling me that Creighton is a 3, Marquette is a 2, and North Carolina is the #1 overall seed, and nobody else from that conference can be like a 10 seed? That's what they're saying? They've got a 1, a 2, and a 3, and then that's it. I've never seen a conference get a draw like that. It's just bizarre. They bet us Marquette to go further than Creighton. Kelly touched on it.
I want to touch back on the Big East thing.
Do it.
Best conference top to bottom, go.
The Big 12.
Okay. Who's the second?
It's probably the SEC.
No, it's the Big East. And that's why I've said, I don't know why the Big 12 didn't get 9 teams and the Big East only got 3.
Well, how many teams are in the Big East? Like 11?
Something like that. But like Seton Hall got left out, St. John's got left out, Villanova got left out, Providence got left out.
Georgetown and DePaul are really bad, like really bad.
I'm not saying DePaul, Georgetown, Butler, Xavier's, I think in the NIT. But like Providence, K-State beat them on a neutral, but still 21-13 on the year. Villanova, K-State beat them in Manhattan. Still, I thought that they were going to be on the outside looking in. St. John's, Seton Hall should have both been in. I'm just kind of floored that they're not.
I'm very surprised that none of those teams got in, whether it's St. John's. St. John's threw the kitchen sink at Connecticut in the Big East semifinals.
Yeah.
That team that played in the Big East semifinals against Connecticut, they could have won a game or 2 easily in the NCAA tournament. That team was playing well. Seton Hall, you mentioned them, Villanova. Providence got to the Big East semis as well. I think they beat Creighton in the quarterfinal, if I remember. So the fact that none of them got in, I think, is crazy. The Big East, I mean, I know this shouldn't be the only measuring stick, but they won the national championship last year. I think they've won 3 of the last 7 or 8 national championships. It's not like this is some floundering conference.
I just said I think they're the second best one. And it's not even close. Outside of that, I got to look back at Ken Palm's metrics. I'm curious to see what he has. Yeah, Big 12, Big East, Big 10, SEC, ACC, Pac-12, Mountain West. Like that's the top 6. But there's 2+ points difference in the rating between Big 12 and Big East. And then the next 3 are within a point or 2 of each other. But I really am shocked that there wasn't another Big 12 team that got in at least 4 Big East teams.
Big East over under at the SuperBook is 7.5, under -130. 7.5 is a big number when you're talking about a conference that has 3 teams. Now, of course, Connecticut is essentially a pick 'em to make it to the Final Four, so that's 4 wins right there. But 7.5 is a lot of wins for a 3-bid conference. The 2 conferences we saw some sharp money come in on. The Atlantic 10, we put up 1 -110 both ways. I don't think that was Chase's best work. I don't know what he was thinking. That's now -$2, under -$2. And then this one, the ACC's moved. It was 6.5 under 40, and they bet that. Then they bet 6 under -110. Now we're at 6 under -130 on the ACC. No one is talking about Duke going into this tournament. You don't hear anything about the Duke Blue Devils. They're the 4 seed in the South region. They play Vermont in Brooklyn Friday. I don't think I've ever seen what is that? I don't think I've ever seen Duke not play their first game in North Carolina. Don't they always play their first 2 games in like Greensboro or Charlotte? Or
probably.
How can they be in Brooklyn?
Look, lost to Arizona at home this year, lost to Pittsburgh at home this year, lost to North Carolina at home this year. Those are, lost at Arkansas, at Georgia Tech. Those are early. But yeah, I don't know. What Duke is kind of that team I haven't really been able to figure out. Early exit to, NC State on Thursday. Granted, kudos to NC State for actually giving a shit. Maybe Duke didn't.
Yeah.
But that could have affected their seeding, or do you think they were just going to be a 4 seed regardless?
I'll tell you what was crazy about NC State. Not only did they win 5 games in 5 days, we had some of our most respected players bet Duke against them in the quarterfinals as like a 12-point favorite, lose outright. And then we had some of our best players lay Carolina on Saturday in the title game, like 9, I think it was, 9.5.
Yeah,
maybe.
I appreciate you sharing both those with me.
And they lost outright again. Like, unbelievable. And that really is amazing. I can't recall. It's one thing to have a team go on a run like that, which is extraordinary on its own. It's another thing to have our best customers laying the favorites and then winning outright. I can't really recall a stretch like that, and I think it's going to come to an end against the Red Raiders on Thursday. Do you have anything else?
I laid 5.5 with Tech, so I was surprised. I thought it was going to head to 6 pretty early. Headed back to 5 was rather strange for me. I've got nothing outside of
bet. What's your best bet?
My best bet, South Carolina, with you guys. We established that in the group chat. I would say that's 1A. Texas Tech is 1B. I also have Drake as a pick'em. My buddy sent that, so that was nice. You said a sharp group agreed there. Let me just open up. Let's see what all we got here. Northwestern, I like shot to win out right there. Utah State, Grand Canyon, as I mentioned. Those are going to be my little boosted parlay since you guys love boosting. I wanted to put Charleston in there really bad. I did take the 9.5 with Charleston. I wanted to say, like, hey, I think this Charleston team can beat Nate Oates' very overrated Alabama offense.
Okay.
But I'm not sure they can.
Do you feel like you're going to have enough action? It sounds like a lot of stuff.
All right. Wait till I have to now add Arizona, Tennessee. Probably am going to bet Kansas now. Samford seems like the trendy dog. And with McCullough and Dickinson being fully healthy, or at least going to play, I may have to lay it with the Jayhawks.
But you hate Kansas.
Oh, yeah. I hate them so much.
I know you do.
I love money. What is wrong with people? I could care less. All these Iowa State fans in my mentions, I'm like, did you guys not see that I literally took you against Houston? Like, I don't hate anybody. Not any more than I love money and winning.
Oh, you hate. You got some hate in your heart. Yeah, you do.
I literally could care less.
Do you want to do
my allegiance are with my bets?
We can do one of 2 things. You can admit that I was right about the Bears, You said the Bears should stick with Justin Fields. They traded him for a
No, I think they're complete and utter idiots. Did you not see AB? Antonio Brown liked my tweet because he made Caleb Williams the cracker of the day.
So all 32 teams are wrong about Justin Fields. No one offered a high pick.
Well, first and foremost, I think they waited too long. I'm not some Justin Fields apologist. I bet against that kid a ton over the last 2 years. All I'm simply saying is there is a time and a place where you trade away your quarterback and you make it known. You do it first. You don't wait until everybody else has made moves. I thought that was really stupid on their part. I don't think they got enough for him. And now you're going to get Caleb Williams, who everybody is telling him to pull an Eli Manning and say, no, I'm not going to the Bears. So what are they going to do when that happens?
I'm going to be a Bears guy this season. I'm going to be a Chicago Bears fan because I like Caleb Williams.
You do that.
Mailbag. Hit me.
I got to open it. It's not open. I'm not even there.
Did you read them before we
never read them before.
How does that? It only takes I don't read them either.
I literally opened the email. Dennis the Menace with a bunch of underscores on Instagram says, Squarest must be round 1. Is it McNeese?
Squarest must bet? Do in round 1? We got to proofread these things.
I told you. You know what I need JH to do? I just need him to put these in English for me.
Squarest must bet do in round 1.
That's why I left out do. I just said must bet in round 1.
I don't think this is on
the punctuation is also not great. So
you're like the star of the show. I think that the below the line people should fix the writing for you. Don't you think?
Anyway.
I think McNeese State's going to be one of them. I think Northwestern's going to be really popular.
Yeah, I like Northwestern.
Florida Atlantic, and I can tell you right now, I think Nevada's going to be popular against Dayton.
I like Nevada, but they're not an underdog.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. But you're right. But no, I think the two that are going to be really popular are McNeese State and NC State. I think NC State's going to be popular because they're getting a lot of points.
Dog. Squares must bet dog is what he was trying to say in round 1.
Dog. Okay, that's what threw me off because he wrote do.
Yes, typo. Fat fingered it. All right, at 21 Rudy _21 on IG. Any survivor pool strategy? So, I've been slammed to the gills right now. I was supposed to be doing my survivor pool strategy video, but John Murray changed our showtime once again. So I'm going to do that after this. But this is where it gets a little tricky. So you got 68 teams. And last year, I lost 3 out of 5 with the play-in game.
What? Oh, yeah, you told me that story.
Yeah. And so this year, when I set up the pool, I don't want to do the play-in games. I just said no play-in games. We're not doing that. I just don't even want the temptation for myself. So we're only going to have 64 teams. So what my thought process is, what you want to do in this survivor pool is you want to pick a team who's going to win round 1, a higher seeded team. Maybe they're going to pull a small upset, right? Just a little guy that you know is probably going to lose in round 2.
So that you won't need him. You won't want him in round 2.
Exactly. I have 4, and then half my damn family was like, "Can you get me in your pool?" So I did. So even Grandma's got one. I'm curious. I should ask her what her strategy is going to be. But
I feel like you're encouraging a lot of gambling this season.
Yeah, of course. That's all I've ever done is encourage gambling. What do you mean?
Even your grandma?
Yeah, she said she wanted in. She saw that I posted on social media. She's like, I want to play. Okay. I'll take her $25. Anyway,
your grandmother?
So here's my thought process. 1, 2, and 3 seeds, I don't think, unless you think that, let's use, for example, unless you think that, Alabama is going to beat Charleston and then turn around and lose to St. Mary's. You don't want to waste that. You don't want to use a Baylor over a Colgate in round 1, especially if you think Baylor's going to go to the Elite 8. You kind of want to mix it up a little bit, obviously, with me with the 4. But I know McNeese seems a little trendy, and I do like Gonzaga. Do I think Purdue can beat? That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of going through these middle seeds, 5, 6, 7, 8. An 11 seed. Do I think New Mexico can beat Clemson? Do I think that, the last thing I want to do, and me personally, is on a literal coin flip game. I think Mississippi State and Mississippi is a literal coin flip game. Yeah, sure, you're not going to use them again, but you're also going to probably lose that entry.
Yeah. All right. Well, but what's your pick?
I haven't decided yet.
You're just talking.
He asked what my strategy was. I haven't decided yet. It's only Tuesday.
I'm sorry, Rudy.
Like he didn't ask for my pick. He said, "What's your strategy?" So
the strategy is
it's similar to what I did in the Calcutta: buy low, sell high. Like I want to like fade certain teams, but like I'm not going to fade Iowa State in round 1.
Well,
I got to look.
I hope
no,
not.
But I'm looking.
So you're saying like, you advance through the first round by playing some of the middle of the pack teams, save the higher seeds for the next few rounds.
So like personally, I think BYU is going to the Elite 8. So I want to say BYU, Iowa State, UConn out of that bracket. So then I have to look at it and say, all right, is there somebody in that bracket that I would like to use? Again, right. I think that Drake is going to beat Washington State. Do I think Drake can actually make a run? No, I think they're going to lose to Iowa State the following week. But I might play Drake as a very short favorite over Washington State, who hasn't been in since 2008.
So you pick Drake, you win the first game, and you're never going to want him again.
You can't play him again. San Diego State,
I know you
maybe.
can't play him again, but you would never. But the whole point is you would never want to play them again.
Probably not, right? Because they would be big underdogs to Iowa State.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm looking. Okay, like Texas Tech. You mentioned you thought Texas Tech could match up really well against Duke. Well, Duke wouldn't play them until the Elite 8.
I said Kentucky.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yes, you did. Sorry, you did say Kentucky. But I wouldn't want to waste Texas Tech over NC State, in my opinion. I'd like to save them. Maybe if I think Florida is going to lose to Marquette, maybe I play Florida.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like that's
how do you feel?
Still.
I want to know what Rudy on IG thinks of all this. You know, like what does he think of this answer?
All right, the pint glass guy on X says, "What is your favorite March Madness upset or Cinderella run of all time?"
Me?
Yes.
I got two that are near and dear to me. So I went to a high school called Gonzaga College High School, and I was a student there in '99 when Gonzaga in Spokane, Washington, made their first run. Remember, they got to the regional final. They lost to Connecticut. Connecticut won the national championship that season with Rip Hamilton. But Gonzaga, they had Casey Calvary, they had Matt Santangelo, and they went all the way. That was before Mark Few was the coach. I think the coach was Dan Monson, who's now the Long Beach State coach. I think. Might be wrong about that. But
I don't remember 1999, so
I love
you
that
will
one,
have to speak for yourself.
My favorite one, though, would have to be 2005, West Virginia. I was a student there at the time. They beat Creighton in the first round. I was in Las Vegas for that game. I watched it at the Sportsbook in Caesars Palace. In the second round, they beat Wake Forest with Chris Paul in double overtime.
Oh, yeah.
And in the Sweet 16, they played Texas Tech, coached by Bobby Knight, and they beat them. They ended up losing the regional final to Louisville and Rick Pitino. And the game was played at the Pit in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Great game. West Virginia had a huge lead in that game. Louisville came all the way back. They won. That was really fun. West Virginia 2005, my answer.
I can't decide which time when K-State beat Kentucky, but it was one of those times was my favorite. I was at the Cosmo the first time, and I was the only person cheering for K-State there, or if it was last year. And the only reason why I say that is because some loser Kentucky broad was harassing me online in like some Big 12 chat. And I'm like, why are you here? What purpose do you serve? The last two times we played each other, K-State's won.
Were you loud and obnoxious in either of these two settings?
One of them was at my own house. The other one was in the Cosmo Sportsbook. And I was on the table in the middle of the Sportsbook on like a bar stool. And everybody in there had Kentucky bets. I was like, it was me, and I don't even know who I was with. I'd have to like literally think about, because I was just like on cloud 9, like rip your shirt off, like, oh, let's go. It was great.
I don't think that would be appropriate.
John Hoagland said, better hope this doesn't get to Bears Twitter, KIV. Don't you know that it was Bears Twitter that got me canceled to begin with, JH? So I could give a fuck about Bears Twitter if you would really like to know.
I like the Bears.
Fuck them. I hope they lose every game for all eternity. Vince and PGH. I'm sure the opening weekend of the tournament invites a ton of parlay action. What is the biggest parlay you've hit and seen hit? during this crazy month time? I'll answer this first. The year I met Adam, CT Bets brought Adam Trigger, who now works for me at WagerTalk, to March Madness. I think it was 2021. It was me, him, my friend Gemma, Brett. I think we had a pod, so there could only be 6 of us. Anyway, there were 6 of us, and we each gave a winner for the day. We hit a 16 parlay. I think Adam put, I don't know, like a couple $100 on it. We had a 16 parlay Thursday of March Madness, and it was awesome. And we hung out with these kids next to us. They were Arkansas fans, and the kid had on, and the kid had on fish flops, like flip-flops, but they were fish. That's all I remember from that day. We had a 16 parlay. The kid had on fish flops.
What does that mean? What the hell are fish flops?
That they're like fish flip-flops. And I don't know what his name is. That doesn't
clear anything up for me. What do you
mean? Google it. And that's all I remember from that whole day. It was awesome. It was an amazing day. I think we gave it all back by Sunday, but it does not matter. It was awesome.
I don't have an answer to that one.
I got yelled at least 40 times for not wearing my mask. Shocker.
Oh, that's great. So you weren't.
The Westgate security was not happy with me, but I was actively eating and drinking. I can confirm. I was drinking a lot.
I went to a Vegas Golden Knights game, and around that same time with Ed Salmons and Jeff Sherman, and Ed was just wolfing down popcorn so he wouldn't have to wear his mask. He's just just so he wouldn't have to wear his mask.
Every time the security guard came by, I just put it to my face. Like, I just was like, bro, I am not wearing a mask. Like, I'm not doing it.
Man.
No, I did not.
Your governor
Jordan _Strat says, Duquesne coach Keith Dambrot said on Monday that he is retiring after the season. Makes me think they'll cover even more now. Thoughts?
Wasn't Keith Dambrot LeBron James's high school coach?
Yes.
I think he was. No, I don't. That wouldn't factor in for me. I wouldn't.
I understand the situation, but no. I mean, go out and try to get a win for their coach. I mean, I feel like they already did, beating VCU, getting the bid, getting to steal a bid. It's already a pretty big deal. I don't think that it's a good matchup. Let me look at one other thing here really quick.
Okay.
5th longest active win streak with 8. So yeah, they had to win 8 straight basically to sneak in. Here's a BYU team that really pissed me off. I thought they had a nice little shot there at 12-1 to win the Big 12 tournament, and then they ran into Texas Tech because they couldn't get hot from 3. They were just chucking threes.
Big 12 tournament is tough, man.
I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like, BYU was the most frustrating bet I made during the Big 12 tournament in that regard, because it was like, if you're not hitting your 3-point shots, drive to the basket, and they just didn't. So,
it
has to do with why I like BYU over Duquesne, and as you mentioned, a Sharp Group also played them.
Touche. Oh, you're right.
Okay. Seahawks 26-11 on X says, I'll be at Westgate for the start of the tournament Wednesday. How do I maximize the number of drink tickets I get, John?
I can't answer that.
I can. This is what you want to do. No, instead of making all your bets at once, you go up and you make a couple $100 bets, and you go flirt really nice with the girl teller and say, can I get some drink tickets? Then you go get your couple drinks, and you go back in line, you make a couple more bets, and then you flirt with the other girl teller and say, can I get some drink tickets? You go to different tellers so they don't remember.
Why do you
that's how you maximize your drink tickets.
Why do you think the girls are the weak links? You said that twice.
I didn't say they're wink links. I said that they're nicer and they're more generous with the drink tickets. I know Lisa doesn't work there anymore, but Lisa used to hand those things out like candy.
That's terrible. That is not what I want to hear.
What are you gonna do? Fire?
No, but I mean, I gotta go assess the drink ticket situation out there.
Oh, cry me a river. At Fun with Numbers on X says, will Kelly threaten to kick the boyfriend out of the house halfway through the game 1 on Thursday again this year? That was okay. Listen, here's the thing. I'm going to say this. We're going to have different bets. People don't understand that we have different opinions on games. He gets different information than I do. We don't always converse. Like, literally last year I had moneyline Arkansas. I hit a 3-team moneyline parlay. Arkansas was a third leg. We were watching at the neighbor's house. He had a futures bet on KU, and I was a complete and utter monster. Like, I was cheering for Arkansas by myself because I had them on the money line. My bet is the only one that matters.
If I was Brett, I would go like away from you. Like, I'd find a bar that you're not at, and I would go there.
Or anywhere. Just get the fuck out of my house. That was the whole point that Fun with Numbers was asking, because that's literally what I did. I was like, out. You need to leave. It was bad. And guess what? It worked.
Why don't you leave? You're the problem. I think you should leave.
No. Here's what happened. No, time out.
You're the problem.
Here's what no, I'm not. If I am winning and you walk in the house and then I start losing, you need to leave.
Well,
I can't leave. Now, if I get home and they start losing, then I'm going to leave.
I mean, in a twisted, weird way, that actually makes some sense to me. So I will.
So like 2 years ago, he had a future on Kansas. He was pissed because they were getting their asses kicked at halftime. So he came home.
I remember that.
And it worked out. They won the game.
I remember. We did very well in that game.
Yeah. So it worked out in his advantage. Sometimes you come home. Sometimes you leave where you're at. I was not in the position to leave. I was the one doing well until he came home. That's why he got kicked out.
A complicated relationship. Connecticut.
Very.
Connecticut's going to beat Stetson on Friday, and then we're going to bet the second round game, and hopefully they'll win that. We'll roll it over. We're going to reconvene on Tuesday the 26th to talk.
We better figure out an actual time that's not flexible, and we can't because I'm going to be on a boat.
Oh, that's
right. The boat day.
Well, that's the boat day. I couldn't help it today. I had to move today. I appreciate it.
So wait, let me lock this up. Do we want to do this Monday? Do you want to do this
on the
Tuesday?
27th instead?
Wednesday?
Look what I wrote on my calendar, 26th, Rosemary birthday.
Oh, Rosemary. Happy birthday, Rosemary. Of course she's an Aries. God, I love her.
We can do it 26th or 27th. We'll talk about that. Let's get through
Can't do the 26th. I'm going to be on a boat.
Let's do the 27th. That's fine.
Okay, 27th, Wednesday.
Let's get through this weekend without you killing Brett or blaming me that some dumb basketball game loses that I have no control over.
The K-State game is tonight. If he comes home and K-State is winning and then they start losing, that's when he has to leave.
It's the NIT. Who cares?
Yeah, well, guess what? I hope they have a fire under their ass because I'm going to be mad.
I got to go. I love you. I wish you didn't waste so much time on your outfit changes, but I appreciate your flexibility, and I will see you. I'm doing
like 6 shows today. What do you want me to wear? The same thing on all 6 shows?
I got my 2 beer show with Taylor this afternoon. I'm going to wear the same thing.
Is that why you had to move our show time? Rude.
No.
Okay.
I'll talk to you next week.